explores the father-son relationship from childhood to old age. So it's a good job my dad's not here tonight. I've got two poems which will appear in the sequence. The first one's called Mower. There's a story about a summer's day when you mowed stamp-sized lawns front and back, hoeing and hosing beds, turning earth for hours, soaking the soil for gladioli. You came inside for the city match and sat in your chair till Tony Towers scored. Then you roared and cheerfully ignored her at the window, mithering about the mower left out in the rain to rest. When the day turned dark, she mithered more, just as the scouts had scored. You locked the door on her and the raining dusk. She stands on grass as daylight fades, bare feet slashed with scars of fresh cut blades. And the second one's called Shrew. I wonder if this was a selfish thing, us two in early spring, stalking the wild in styled woods, hiding in hollows full of mud at dawn, breathlessly waiting, rock still. Your arm wrapped around, crushing the thrill that rose in my throat when a stoat stopped, one paw raised, stilled in motion, a cocked shrew half dead in its jaws. Your eyes glinted applause. I wonder if this was a selfish thing, sitting in that uncomfortable dawn, the cool air torn by waking birds driven to sing. A couple of years ago I worked at Refugee Action on Dale Street, Manchester, as a volunteer. And I think, well I know, that the inspiration from this poem comes from that. And the poem's called Asylum. With each drag, the man's sleeve shifts to show dark skin, pitted with deep white scars, bowls of cool craters hot with old pain. I think of Helen. She had skin like silk, softly tanned by the summer of 76, with fine, fair hairs that melted first, curling crisp in the glowing heat. I asked the interpreter about the scars. Self-inflicted, she said. It's not uncommon that pain blinds briefly the mind's eye. It started with a pound note, a match and a crumpled cigarette. I didn't smoke, so her fag felt awkward through my finger and thumb. It was her idea. The trick was to wrap the note around her slender wrist, drag on the fag and burn a hole before she fainted. He says they made him watch her die, held her high on a bayonet, passing her one to the other, laughing, 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 laughing. I sit across the table from a brown-skinned, scarred man who reminds me of the girl I've not tortured for 30 years. Now, the next two poems deal with isolation and loneliness in very different contexts. The first one's called The Third Child. The wine glass glimmers green, lit by half light from an upstairs window. I am the third child, the breakfast giver, the emotionally intelligent backseat driver. In the distance I hear planes grumbling before they fly and trains trundling by high on the embankment. I'm not seen. I sit in this semi-light, listening. A door slams. Inside, a child cries out. They don't know I'm here. I am the third child. The second one is Meg Green's freight. Meg Green's bed trembles with the weight of passing freight. From her window, sweet chestnut trees rise above the embankment. Fish slice leaves, gloss green, preen themselves in summer, concealing from sight the muffled passage of trains. In winter, after the leaves have left their detritus on her neat-cut council lawn, she can see again. On the edge of her bed in the dark, she looks through strong branches, fake tanned by orange lights. She waits for film-stripped trains to trail negative-framed faces, some seen before, and gasps a smile at the passing profile. As the lights of the last passenger train tunnel into the night, Meg Green stretches her aching back, slips off her slippers, and curtains the dark. Okay, the next few poems, or the final few poems, are based in Greece. I've spent a lot of time in Greece over the years, working, living, holidaying. The first poem relates to a failed love affair. Painful. And this relates to the first date of that love affair, and it's called Porta Roma. Porta Roma is where rocks rip partitions through sand to make sections for solitude. We wade waist deep from the crowd to seek the place of our audition. Jags of granite prick our sun-drying shirts. Our arms touch and damp seeps through thin towels. Smooth as wind-formed dunes at noon, they stand, cowled in a Kalahari sun. My turning hurts, 180 degrees to stir sand. At the beach bar we pass Old Ursula, and as fast as the 50cc Suzuki could stand, we thrust through the pined peninsula to your sun-med studio, where we fucked each other up. The penultimate poem deals with a violent death that I was a witness to, unfortunately. And it's called Fish Scale Shirt. Last night you danced the Sataki, sweat beads breaking in hives, dripping from your chin, soaking the bleached scales of this cotton skin. You whirled with fustas, scaled tails hanging free, bloated with meatballs and crassi. Your belly danced like a Turk. Beneath the dappled shade of this olive tree, in this quiet place where insects wheel in blades of light that slice the shade, you ran. You ran till thunder cracked your desperate breath and death caught your stride. Now here you rest, but last night you danced the Sataki, sweat beads breaking like hives, dripping. And finally, after that unremitting series of misery that I've subjected you to, it's a love poem, uncomplicated love poem, but it's called Clutching. Fingers linked like a hair clasp, the rasp of the engine, and George Upoly sinks below Goatbell Hills. On the plateau, where Patrick Lee Firmer fought, our engine echoes through villages wrought iron ages ago. Rain clouds kill the sun. Your fingers tighten at the roar of an angry god that once hurled jagged rods at Cronus. You lighten, looking down to the sun-tilled Sfakian sea, clutching